Everybody's just currently popping in, and you're good to go, John.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Decentralized Energy Canada's Energy Innovation Challenge, webinar for intake number 2. My name is John Nowosowski, and I am the EIC's program manager. Just a couple of housekeeping items. I want to inform everyone that this webinar is being recorded and will be available on YouTube for everyone to view following the session. And we also ask that you hold all of your questions until the end. We do have a lot of time towards the end of this session for Q&A. So I do have a few items that we're going to go through today. So first, for those of you who aren't familiar with DEC, I'll give you a quick summary. After that, we'll jump into the main part of this session, providing you with an overview of the program. And in this section, you'll also hear from the 2 successful applicants from intake number 1. For the third item, I'll switch from my slides to the Energy Innovation Challenge website to give you a brief orientation to the resources that are available to you. And then before opening it up to the Q&A portion of this webinar, I'll review a few important points I'd like to call your attention to. And finally, we will have time for Q&A where you can add your questions to the chat or you can come off mute to ask them later on. Again, please hold your questions to the end. All right, so first of all, DEC is a Canadian industry association that has been around for more than 20 years. At the core of DEC's mission, it is to challenge the status quo and create opportunities for decentralized energy by convening, educating, and engaging industry stakeholders. So you can see on the screen some of the core activities that DEC facilitates in its day-to-day operations. Another item that I will actually call out is that it's open to members and non-members, is the annual Decentralized Energy Forum that's happening November 20th to 21st in Quebec City in next year. So more details to come on that. So getting into it, let's talk about the scope of this particular program. The City of Medicine Hat has partnered with DEC for the Energy Innovation Challenge, supporting Alberta's energy transition and economic diversification. Medicine Hat has a history of energy innovation, including the early adoption of natural gas and renewable energy technologies. The EIC consists of 3 program components. The first you see is the Innovation Challenge, where applications propose solutions to energy-related issues identified by both the city and DEC through a series of challenge statements. Successful proposals then enter the second stage, the community demonstration projects, which involves piloting these solutions within the City of Medicine Hat. And the final phase is the investment challenge, and this facilitates all participants, regardless of their success within the innovation challenge stage, to meet with experienced investors, build their business strategies, refine their investor pitch, and compete for additional investment through Valhalla Private Capital, one of our partners. This program is designed to test and refine new technologies in Medicine Hat, enhancing the city's leadership in energy innovation and attracting further investment and development. So, diving in a little bit more into these challenge statements. The program is looking for innovative solutions demonstrating value and benefits of decentralized energy. And some of the areas that this includes in is grid reliability, grid resiliency, energy affordability, and sustainability. So your proposed solution must address one or more customer premise or system focus areas. And there's one more point here. Submissions that are leveraging Intake 1 project results will be given or are preferred, and we'll have the 2 successful Intake 1 applicants speaking a little bit more about their application and their solution for the City of Medicine Hat. Innovative solutions at the premise level or behind the meter aim to reduce peak demands and increase energy efficiency. Your solution should offer whole building scale energy efficiency solutions and on-site technologies at the commercial or institutional building levels. A few examples of those that you can see on the left side include low carbon intensity HVAC components technologies, microgeneration technologies, building integration energy storage solutions, and public use electric vehicle solutions. So a special note on this particular area for the challenges is that customer connected hardware solutions must be CSA or CUL certified or be able to be field verified before commissioning as per the Canadian Electrical Code standards. So if this is required, a field verification plan should be included in your application when you submit it. At the system level, on the right-hand side, these solutions help optimize the current energy infrastructure at the distribution level. So a few examples that you can see here include energy storage, energy aggregation, microgeneration technologies, and similarly public access electric vehicle charging solutions. So what makes the start of a good solution for this for an application? So the first item we're looking for are solutions that are out of the lab and have a technology readiness level of 6 or greater. And as you can see on the right-hand side, there are 6 criteria that we're looking at. The first is challenge fit, which has a weighting of 20%. The proposed project, as described in the content, meets one or more of the EIC challenge statements. So depending on how you describe your solution, 20% will be allocated to how it fits. The next category at 25% is the strength of the proposed project. So in a high-level statement, the project has clear timelines, milestones, and deliverables. And based on the provider description, the solution is deemed mature, feasible, and technically achievable. At 15% is the project team and qualifications. So the project team is experienced and has relevant qualifications and expertise to support the project execution. Help us understand how the people who are being proposed support the execution of that project. Previous deployment experience at 15%. And here is your ability to brag a little bit and tell us a little bit about your previous deployments. For another 15% are the project potential benefits. So your solution describes the emission reductions that may be achieved, so GHGs, and also you're encouraged to outline other expected benefits in addition by implementing your solution. The last category, the budget and financial capacity, is that your funding that you're asking for meets what's available from the program and is reasonable for the proposed project. So you should also help describe the capital raised to date, the company's financial stability, and where the other 50% of the funding ask is coming from. The budget should also include any milestones and associated people needed to execute the project successfully from your company. There are, in addition, several screening factors. For a complete list, please see the program guide. But a few examples that I'll just call out for this webinar are insufficient GHG reduction potential. So, in your solution that you described, we don't see enough of a reduction possibility with what you're proposing. Next one is demonstration or deployment cannot occur within the City of Medicine Hat. So for some reason, the project that you're proposing can't actually happen within the city. And maybe one more that I'll offer up here is the proposed technology or solution is inconsistent with the intent or scope of the EIC challenge statements. So the solution that you're proposing doesn't align well with what we're looking for in terms of this intake. All right, moving on to the location. Again, your proposal needs to acknowledge that the solution will be implemented within the City of Medicine Hat. The challenge statements broadly indicate that the solution should be either in front of or behind the customer meter within the city's distribution system. When crafting your application, it will be very helpful to propose or determine specific sites for your deployment. The city distribution engineers are engaged in this challenge and can help facilitate a location if you're in front of the meter. If your solution is behind the premise meter, it would be helpful to know locations you have in mind as part of your description and application, and if you've had productive conversations with the property owner to facilitate the challenge. And this would go a long way in being able to ascertain how viable the project implementation is. So now I'd like to give you a bit of an overview of the schedule and some of the critical items when they're happening. So the biggest item is getting your submission in by Thursday, January 9th. So the application process opened on last Monday, December 2nd, and will close in just over 1 month. Applications won't be accepted after this day, and the application portal will close at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So as part of the application, this also includes sending a corporate overview attachment via email that I'll talk a little bit about later, but the information is also included in the program guide and indicated in the application form when and how to send that. After the submission, the application review committee will review the applications and down select a group to present their solution. There might be some back and forth for additional clarifications and conversations, ultimately helping the committee decide who should be contacted for the contracting phase. The goal, as you can see, is to announce contract awards by the end of February. There are 2 items I'd like to call out here for the projects that they need to be completed, including reporting by the end of August 2026. And the last item that I'll call out here is DEC's Decentralized Energy Forum in the second half of November. So that overall, this gives you sort of a picture of the timeline between now and the end of the program. Okay, so this program has a total contribution amount of $1 million for the projects. As you can see, the maximum funding per project is up to $500,000, and for at least a minimum of 50% of the project cost. So I have a quick example here for you. If your total project costs 1.2 million Canadian dollars, the most you can ask from the program is $500,000. The remaining $700,000 has to be funded by other sources. So in this example, we're showing $200,000 in cash from your company and $500,000 being provided by another company you're partnering with. The program guide has additional, actually I believe it's the frequently asked questions document has additional examples with different funding amounts for you to look at. All right, so before I give you an overview of the EIC webpage, I'm going to hand it over to Rhonda from Arcus Power and then Tanner from Edgecom Energy to give you a bit of an experience perspective and some of their solution that they've proposed as part of intake 1 for the City of Medicine Hat. Rhonda, over to you.
Great, thanks, John. Hi, everybody. My name is Rhonda Jewett. Here at Arcus Power, I'm the VP of Operations. And as John mentioned, we were the one of the first successful applicants to the EIC program. And just a quick background on Arcus. We're an Alberta-based company. We've been around for over 6 years, and we're focused on smart grid technology on the software side. So ensuring that that distributed energy resources has some level of data and intelligence to interface with the grid effectively. So our project that we submitted was focused on the second bullet point, which is grid decongestion at the system level. And it supports optimizing energy infrastructure within the City of Medicine Hat. So specifically, Arcus is piloting the integration of a software platform that simulates the sizing and siting of a fleet of distributed energy resources. So that could be battery installations or solar installations within the City of Medicine Hat. And the benefit of this is by simulating the different combinations of assets that you could put in, we can quantify the benefits and the costs ahead of going forward with the project. My understanding right now is that the city doesn't have any solar facilities or batteries within its distribution system, but it does have it. Looking towards the future, it's going to have some challenges with reliability overloads on the system. So we're going to support that through this demonstration. Sort of some of the key and I guess the value of this project to the city is going to be that we can model what the impact of the different size and sites of these DERs are, specifically for removing the N-1 reliability overloads. We can also model what the impact is for GHG by time shifting the cleaner electricity into different storage systems and what the impact of that would be specifically. We can also model the different offset of costs by shifting at the sale of the energy to different market products within the ASO electricity market. So that could be modeling what the impact would be for either storing the electricity through a distributed energy resource and holding off and putting into one market product or another, or just pushing it to the market in real time. So overall, that's sort of the benefits and the scope of the project that we're working within for this project. Looking forward, I think specifically there would be an opportunity in the future for Arcus and the City of Medicine Hat to work with different asset technologies, whether it's solar or battery, to facilitate the actual installation of what our model comes out with at the end. So that's a little brief on Arcus and the project that we're doing for the City of Medicine Hat and DEC.
All right, thank you very much, Rhonda. Tanner, go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for the intro there, John. Lovely to meet you all. I'm Tanner Barron from Edgecom Energy. We're a Toronto-based IoT and AI energy management firm, and really we aim to be the connecting piece between what's happening within large energy consumers, so giving them visibility into their processes, their machines, their assets, how they're consuming electricity in real time, and then connecting those to what's happening on the grid. So not only contextualizing that consumption information, but also identifying opportunities for those facilities to generate cost savings, emission reductions, and downtime improvements. So effectively what the project that we're going to be rolling out in collaboration with the City of Medicine Hat is really going to be deploying a series of IoT sensors, as well as our software platform in some of the city's largest energy consuming facilities. So we're going to be taking a plethora of those and pretty much providing real-time visibility into the largest energy consuming processes within each of those buildings. So a couple of kind of the immediate wins or some of the the nearer term objectives that we're acting on there. Obviously, identifying areas of energy waste, looking for areas where retrofits could be done to generate some of those savings. But really, a lot of what we're doing really plugs into some of the longer term goals, which can also have some connections into some of the projects, both with Arcus as well as future intakes of this program, but really creating that data foundation and providing the city with a more granular understanding of the load profile, the consumption habits, and really how different processes across their assets are contributing towards what ends up being the cost of the electric resources within the city. So kind of just based off of that description, you can tell that we're tackling kind of the more granular side, looking at building side congestion, but really again using that data foundation, building out that real-time visibility, and starting to uncover some of those both near-term and longer-term opportunities within the city's own assets. So eventually this will open up some opportunities for local demand management, both on a city level as well as expanding that out to some of the other assets that exist within the City of Medicine Hat. But really kind of a key emphasis there being How can we provide visibility into processes that, generally speaking, you can't get that granular understanding of, especially when your visibility in most circumstances is restricted to a monthly energy bill, and then seeing what different opportunities we can kind of roll out based off the findings that both our own analysis and the analysis that our AIM platform does on the back end are able to uncover. So yeah, looking forward to getting it started. Definitely think that it's been, it's a great program overall, and it's especially for us, saying that most of our deployments to date, we have done municipal deployments, but most of our deployments are in manufacturing industrial facilities. So it's definitely kind of a branch out at scale into a relatively new kind of subset of the customer base for us. So we're definitely looking to see kind of what the difference in findings looks like, especially once you take that to what I'll generally call a portfolio level deployment. So yeah, we're really looking forward to getting started, and happy to share any insights that would be helpful on what we experienced throughout the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanner, and thanks again, Rhonda. Appreciate the feedback. So there's questions for understanding a little bit more of the solutions that both Arcus Power and Edgecom Energy have provided. We can also talk through those a little bit and how they can be leveraged for the second intake. So thank you very much, both of you. So what I will do now is I'm going to jump over to the EIC webpage, and I'm just going to point out a few helpful items that will hopefully be helpful for you in being able to provide your, a good quality application. So you should be able to just continue to see my screen, which is the Energy Innovation Challenge website. Right now you can see the intake is open. You've already registered for the webinar as you're here. The program guide is, I'll open that up in a second, has all sort of the overall expectations of what's about this program and how to apply. The apply now actually jumps out to a Google form, which allows you to send in your application. And then there's some information here to talk a little bit more about Edgecom Energy and Arcus Power. I keep scrolling down here. You can see a lot of similar photos to things that are where we're in the presentation. One thing I'll mention here again is this. We want to make sure that you know where the program guide is. So we got this a few times, but the other piece of it here is the frequently asked questions. So there is a number of questions and answers that we've provided. This particular document will be updated as we receive questions. And if there's anything new, we'll add them here. So if you submit any questions through email, we can definitely add this here too, and that'll be available for everyone. The other document that I'll talk about here is the City of Medicine Hat electrical description. So this really provides a background on what is part of the City of Medicine Hat, and it's their background in terms of their electrical use, some distribution system parameters. It gives you a little bit of the lay of the land. So we've consolidated some information to make your research a little bit easier, especially to help with the idea of understanding the electrical system within the City of Medicine Hat, and maybe giving you a better idea of where your solution could fit. So as we continue going through, another helpful document here is the application download form. So this one is just a PDF of the Google form, so you can work on this offline without having to submit your responses through the Google form right away. You can build this out in a separate document if you like. And then, a lot of this you've seen before. A reminder to apply by January 9th. And then at the bottom here, if you want a little bit of background too, there are press releases for the original program release was from May 10th with Prairie's Can. And the December 2nd release is when we open this second intake. So, we have our program sponsors here, and then other website goodies to be able to sign up to and navigate as well. So that's the website. All right. Before I close, I just want to review just a couple of helpful points. So the majority, if not all of these hints are actually in the frequently asked questions guide. So there shouldn't be anything new. It's just kind of maybe restated in a bit of a different way. So I highly encourage you when you're submitting an application to review the program guide, the FAQ, and the electrical description documents. That'll give you a good idea of what you're applying with and for. If you can build, your application off of the results or the anticipated results from both ARCUS and EdgeCom, that is a plus for your particular application. The third bullet there, just a reminder, if you're deploying equipment behind the meter, just to talk about your plan regarding CSA certification, if you need to if it's a hardware implementation. So maybe I'll just jump to the next point there, which is this program is open to both hardware and software solutions. So it's not just focused on hardware or just software, even though you heard from EdgeCom and ARCUS that they're primarily software solutions. EdgeCom does also have sensors involved as well. One of the other things too is just to make sure that you understand the funding model and you're asking for a funding amount that falls within the program parameters and is reasonable given your project scope. If you can source a location, even if you're working on a customer premise and you can secure some agreement with them for the deployment, that is also helpful and gives us an idea that you've reached out to those in the community to potentially be able to implement your solutions. If you need some assistance in the front of the meter and the distribution electrical system, we can also help with coordinating a conversation with the City of Medicine Hat to be able to understand where those locations could be as well to help with, possibly citing your solution, at least understanding a little bit more about the electrical system. And the final point is about defining your problem and making sure that, we understand what the solution is that you are proposing, but what is the problem that you're proposing? So why is this important for the City of Medicine Hat? And, where are they getting their value? So the challenge statements are a good guide, but putting yourself into the shoes of the City of Medicine Hat and trying to understand what it is that they're going to get from it is really critical to sort of understanding also how your solution fits the challenge, and for the application review committee to really understand how that fits as well. All right. So that is the end of the formal presentation. So now if you do have any questions, you can either type them into the Zoom chat, or I believe, Crystal, you can maybe help me out here. You can raise your virtual hand and we can call on you to take yourself off mute if you want to chat about your question. Everything here then is still being recorded. So just a note that, these are all kind of like public questions. So if there's anything that you think is good for the group, we'd be very happy to hear from you for the group. Also, my email is there, so you can actually reach out and we can chat a little bit more about your potential application for the program. But just again, note that any questions that do potentially come up there, they potentially are going to end up in the FAQ as well. So we don't need to know anything that is specific to your application there that can't be shared with others. Brent, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just had a question. We're talking about building on the anticipated results from the first intake, and as we've heard a little bit about it on this call, is there any further documentation on that, or what should we use as our starting point for the expected results?
Yeah, so I think that one is both those programs for ARCUS and EdgeCom are just getting started. So we don't actually have the results of those yet. So it's really sort of an anticipation for this type of results that they would be providing. So, if you have a series of equipment that you'd like to install with regards to the results of the ARCUS locations, then maybe it's a reference to sort of the output of where those could be and some I guess generic sort of assumptions that you could make with regards to the output that you kind of anticipate based on on the solution that Rhonda described, but we don't have anything specific in terms of, actual system results just yet.
Okay, so we'd end up working with customers later on after the results were available, if that was the case.
Yeah, there'll be a little more coordination and anticipation with the City of Medicine Hat to help with that as well.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. I don't think I see any other hands. All right. Well, another few seconds here. Otherwise, we can conclude the webinar. In case anyone's having some trouble getting off mute, but you can raise your hands. All right. All right, Chris.
Sorry, just a quick one. The follow-up presentations, if you kind of make it to the short list, is that in person or virtual?
Yeah, good question. Those presentations will be done virtually.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I'm not seeing any other hands, so my contact information is there if you do have any follow-up questions. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time today, and good luck with your applications. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.